Hey, what is up guys, Smurfy here, and today I want to talk a little bit about net decking, and more in particular about net decking accurately. So a lot of people, if they want to deck, they'll go onto like MTG Top 8 or MTG Goldfish or something like that, and they'll find a list that's done well, and then they'll just jam that and play with that. But I think a lot of people just take the deck list too much at face value. So if you see a Court of Calling deck playing Forge Tender, or maybe they're playing like 2 main deck, and they did well at a PPTQ, people often just think, oh, okay, well I guess I just play 2. When in reality, the only reason they're actually playing 2 is because their meta is full of burn and red decks. Or the same goes with if they're playing lots of a 3-drop, then they'll play that. But then if you're actually in your meta, you're playing the same deck, but you play against a lot of Tron and not against of aggro, you might swap something out for, say, Fulminator Mage. And it's just things like that. I think people go onto a deck list, they look at it and they just take it and they don't consider why the cards are there. And then because of that, they end up playing a less effective deck in a meta that isn't exactly the same as that person had predicted. A good example of this is a PPTQ list that came up the other day. Came second in the PPTQ. However, he played a couple of very strange cards. He played 2 main deck Deflecting Palm, which I've seen before, but it was definitely unusual to see them do that successful when they play it. I normally see like top 16 or top 32, but you don't often see like second place with main deck Deflecting Palm, at least from my experience. He's also playing a 1-off Thunderous Wrath. He cut the 4th Rift Bolt, and he was just playing a lot of strange 1-offs and things like that, and I just thought it just looked very odd. And I posted it on my Facebook, and my friends were just like, we just discussed about it, and it became very apparent that the cards in his deck were clearly tuned for a specific meta. He was playing the Forked Bolt as well, and I'll put the list up on the screen of course, but yeah, like if you just took this list and you ran it to a random PPTQ, I don't think you would be nearly as successful as if you considered why the cards were there and perhaps made some adjustments. Because don't get me wrong, he obviously did a good deck choice, and the cards in his the cards that he customized were obviously very specific, but it looked like it worked for him. He only lost in the finals, which is great, congratulations for him. But overall, I think that just because the list did well, it doesn't mean that the list is good in a non-biased meta where you don't know what is more prominent. So basically what I'm just trying to say is, just because a list does well and it has strange 1-offs or very strange lists or builds and things, it doesn't mean that that's better. It just means that that's been tuned for that meta. For example, if I think that my meta is going to be very heavy in aggro decks, such as Affinity, Death Shadow, Burn, Zoo, Boggles and Infect, then I might play 3 or 4 main deck Deflecting Palms because I think I'm going to be playing against these kind of decks 3 out of the first 5 rounds or something. So playing those main deck is going to give me a greater edge, so I feel that even if I have a disadvantage of playing with them in the main deck against other decks, because of the meta is so heavily shifted, it would still be advantageous to play that. However, if you didn't know that that was going to be the meta, and in fact it isn't, then it's obviously going to be a massive disadvantage playing that over a spell that is better placed in that meta. And the same thing happens if you play against a lot of blue decks, and your meta is heavily control based, then playing Exquisite Firecraft might be a lot better than, say, Searing Blaze. And these are just things that, just because of the deck list you see online does something, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily strictly better for you in your meta, and even in a meta that you don't know. So that's just something that I think that a lot of people don't look into enough. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to talk about. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you guys later.